or be let go or nothing. We knew nothing.
The only thing we could take with us were a few clothes. I had left a very valuable and very dear stamp collection, but I did take out with me my Star of David. It was made by my grandfather, and the necklace was made by my father. I was able to get it out, and luckily they didn't search me, because if they had, the Egyptian authorities at the customs would have pulled it from my neck.
In Yemen, Jews faced a wave of rioting. International rescue groups began to plan for an emergency airlift of Yemenites to Israel. But many had never seen an airplane before. Shimon Avizemel, a Yemenite Jew who fled to Palestine in 1935, was sent on a mission back to Yemen to rescue thousands of Jews in danger.
When I came to this desert, there were nearly 4,000 people in the desert, in that camp, that terrible camp. There was only sand and very little huts that they live in. What we had to do, only to teach them, to prepare them for Israel, to teach them the Hebrew. You know, in that desert, I had 2,500 pupils. 2,500 pupils from 3 years old until 60 years old. And they loved their learning. And, spirit was very high. In what? In that desert, in that sand, in that terrible heat. Terrible heat. They never complained. Why? Because they waited. They helped. They knew that tomorrow we shall be saved. Tomorrow we shall go to Israel. On Shabbat, we read that part of the Torah. It was Parashat Yitro. And in Parashat Yitro, we read that word, Va'esa etchem al kanfe nesharim va'avi etchem. And I shall take you, with the eagle wings, to Israel. The Jewish community in Yemen lived the Torah, and they believed that the Nesher, this Nesher, is the aeroplane. And when the aeroplane came the following day, on the Sunday, the eagle, or if you want, the aeroplane, came and took the first wave to Eretz Yisrael.
ותאמר לבית יעקב ותגיד לבני ישראל אתם ראיתם אשר עשיתי למצרים ואשא אתכם על כנפי נשרים ואביאכם
For those who remained in Arab countries, government persecution only grew more intense. In 1969, Saddam Hussein began his rise to power. As a show of force, he arranged for a public hanging of 9 Jews in the middle of Baghdad. 500,000 people attended the hangings.
And it was shown all over the world on TV, and there were masses of people there singing and dancing, around the bodies. In 1972, it was on the eve of Yom Kippur. After receiving really such sad letters from my father, that he felt so lonely, and he was really hoping that, he get a passport and join us. We heard that he was actually abducted on his way to the synagogue, and we don't know until today what happened to him exactly. We didn't really have Kaddish for my father throughout these years.
In Egypt, following the Six-Day War, the government arrested all Jewish men and forced them into concentration camps.
They took the 400 male Jews between the age of 16 and 60 and put them in these concentration camps. One of them is called Abu Zabal. And they beat them, and they tortured them, and they humiliated them. The things they did, I cannot say, because they are so horrible. My uncle was in there, and many of my relatives were included.
The persecution of the governments of Arab countries made the Jews in Arab countries desire to leave their origin country, but they didn't how, because no country was ready to receive them. So when the State of Israel was established, suddenly we have a shelter, and the Jews came to Israel.
When Israel was created, what it did was it unshackled the Jew from being under the rule and the control of Arabs and Islam. They became free and independent. And for the Arabs and for the Muslims, it is unacceptable for the Jew to be independent, because for 14 centuries, the Jews were under them.
According to the Muslims and the Dhimmi rules, a majority state of Jews, a state where Jews are a majority or they are the rulers, is non-existent. It must never exist.
The fledgling Israeli government had little money and faced a war declared on it by 7 of its Arab neighbors. Still, 680,000 Mizrahi refugees were taken in and settled in temporary refugee camps called ma'abarot. They huddled in tents that could barely keep out the rain and mud.
They were put into tents, wooden huts. More than 10 years, those Jews were in tents as refugees.
My grandmother recalls that when they first got to the Ma'abarot and food was very scarce, and because couscous is a national dish in Libya, and it was not so easily available at the time, she used to take dry bread and dry it up in the sun and make into little bowls just to make it look like it was couscous.
During the country's early years, Mizrahi refugees struggled to overcome social discrimination. Moshe Katsav was born in Iran and fled to Israel with his family as a child. Arriving destitute, they took shelter in a desert refugee camp.
עיקרו של דבר, מדינת ישראל, הצעירה, בת ה2-3, בסיוע של העם היהודי, נחלצה כדי לקלוט את היהודים מארצות האסלאם.
Today, in 2004, Moshe Katsav is the president of Israel.
העובדה שהדמוקרטיה הישראלית, שהיא ארץ של הגירה, ארץ מודרנית, ליברלית, מדינה יהודית דמוקרטית, מאפשרת מוביליות של ילד מעברה שבא מארץ מוסלמית, שנולד בארץ מוסלמית, מצליח להגיע לכהונת נשיא המדינה.
The Iraqi Jews are hardworking people. They are very well educated, and you know they were in the first line in the Iraqi economy. So in a way they shifted all their skills to the Israeli efforts to establish a good economy and a good society.
There are no Jews left in Libya today. The Darvishi synagogue in Tripoli once overflowed with congregants on the Sabbath and on holidays. Today, it is abandoned and vandalized. Only a few dozen Jews remain in Iraq, Egypt, Yemen, Syria, and Lebanon. Outside Beirut, the Hamdoun synagogue sits empty. In Morocco, the El Husseini synagogue in the old Jewish quarter of Fez is now a boxing club. After Jews fled Iraqi Kurdistan in 1955, this synagogue was turned into a mosque. A dirt road was built over this old Jewish cemetery, with foot traffic exposing Jewish graves. vibrant Middle Eastern communities that